once upon a time, was it crafting on Starkiller base or was it just always Ilum?
Always Ilum.
I remember when I like first saw you on Instagram, I was just like, I wonder if she has like a alter ego where it's on Starkiller base. Right before we got on here, you were mentioning that you were drawing. Is there any leaks or any spoilers that you can give us for what your next piece is going to be?
So someone had messaged me and was like, "Is this for like Andor season 2 or something?" And I'm like, I mean, K2SO is rumored to, or is like officially actually, because the voice actor confirmed that he was going to be in the show. So like you could say it's related to Andor season 2, but it's just like a more of a meme. Like I do a lot of meme drawings and designs, so it's more in that route. It's not really pertaining to Rogue One or Andor season 2, but you'll see. That's as much as I can give.
Awesome. Hell yeah. I think it's gonna turn out great. I mean, like I said too, I really wish I could draw. I feel like it's just like it's so for people who don't have the capability of drawing, like it just sucks. It's just like, well, I want to be artistic, but I can't draw.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I mean, there's a ton of other arts that I can't do. Like, I'm not great at, I don't know, videography or something like that. And I see people doing it, and I'm like, this looks really cool. Like, yeah.
yeah, I've actually been kind of intertwined with some Lego friends recently, and they do a lot of just Lego photography, and it's like
Mm,
insane how they make these little pieces of plastic that we all love to collect, and it's just like, wow, you make it look 100 times better than what I could ever imagine.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it's really cool, especially in Star Wars. We all have our kind of niche, and we like to follow that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone has such a different view of Star Wars. It's just having these conversations, you learn, different points of view, which is always a huge thing in Star Wars, that term point of view, and
Mm,
just so many different ways to see the series or the movies, and different perspectives, especially with what we grew up with or what we're just now getting into. But kind of take it back to elementary school a little bit, show off some of the things that we collect, because for the most part, we either get gifted a lot of these things or we spend a lot of money on it. So
yeah.
we might as well show it off. But if you
Yeah,
wanted to go ahead and start, you're more than welcome.
sure. Yeah, I can do that. Should I start big or small? What do you think?
Hmm. Go big. Go big.
Big? Okay, all right. For big, I gotta put on these gloves because I'm so OCD because it's so special to me. Um, so I went to Rebel ScumCon this past year, and this is the Ralph McQuarrie Darth Vader art. Giant statue. There's like two different heads because it's like the different concept art for Darth Vader, and then of course the saber looks a little different. But yeah, I've got this statue. I won it at a panel at Rebel ScumCon, so it didn't cost me anything. So it's like my most
Wow.
prized possession. Yeah, it's pretty hefty and it's really, really pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
what's the so there is a different lightsaber?
I think just the one. I have the
It's just
box
the one.
somewhere where I keep the accessories. Yeah, but the helmet, there's like two other helmets in there that it's just like magnetic and you just take it off and then switch them out. But yeah,
Damn, that's dope.
yeah, it's really, really cool. I love it.
And plus winning too. It's just like I won it. I didn't have to do anything. I was just existing and it's mine now.
Yeah, I it was at the panel they said whatever question is the best question based off of what the panel like individuals voted for, and it was like a Return of the Jedi panel, so it was all of those older actors. So my question like won because they picked it, so all I had to do was ask a question, which was hard for me because I'm normally an introvert. Like we won, so it's all good.
Oh, hell yeah. That's dope. What did you want me to go ahead and show mine to split, or did you want to go ahead and show the small one as well?
Oh, you go. Let's do a trade-off.
All
Let's
right,
see it.
cool.
Let's see it.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and rock. Actually, no, I have options here. I don't want to show that. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. It's
All
kind of
right,
like
let's
a
see it.
two, it's kind of like a two for one, but it's one and the same. Um I recently got the UCS job of sail barge. I have been posting about
Yeah.
that nonstop because it's
Yes.
the most prized possession to me as well. If we're gonna talk prized possessions,
Sure.
this it's so big to show on screen, but I will show its counterpart, which is the Sarlacc pit.
Yes. I love it.
Absolutely. Yes, it's so amazing. I've been trying to tweak some of these Lego sets just a little bit, that way it kinda looks more like the scene, but, I ended
Mhm.
up pulling off some of the back levers that make the tentacles, move around. Um, I just feel like with the sail barge looking the way it does, I don't want anything more so Lego to stick out just because it feels
Mm,
like it's just such a centerpiece. So I
yeah.
took the little mechanics off, but I mean, everything about the desert skiff, I just
Yes.
absolutely love it. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, all the guys here, and I ended up throwing a Nikto off of the Book of Boba Fett set into
Oh,
this to kind of
that's really cool. Yeah, to
make it
complete
pop a
it.
little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is
Han,
the
his face, like, turns, right? He has, like, squinty eyes and then eyes that are actually,
see it.
open.
That's when I first got this set, shout out to my grandma for, like, she just straight up came to the house one day and said, "I'm outside," and she had this set for me in the box. I was like, "Man, what the hell? Like, you didn't have to do that." So shout out to grandma if she's watching, but, yeah, when I got it, I was like, "Oh, I have to show his squinty eyes," and I think the light's not really showing it justice, but yeah, and then the other side, the Han smirk, he's gotta have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
so
it's
fun.
yeah, I love what Lego's doing, right now, especially. They're kinda bringing back some of the, original trilogy sets more than ever, so, yeah, of course, I appreciate it. It's actually crazy because it's an $80 set, but you feel like it should be, like, 55 at most, but even I got it gifted, so, I mean, the price didn't matter, but still, it's just one of those things where you just have to have it. Well, on to yours. What are you
Onto
gonna
mine?
what are we showing to wrap
Yeah.
up?
Alright, so I've got this signed, Topps Trilla card from Elizabeth, my girl, my whole personality right there, yep. So I had this in my pride position in my, like, little Trilla shelf that I keep, so that's where that goes, and I got it off of it's a little disrespectful to me, but, Tony actually sent me the link and was like, "Hey, this is, like, $7," and I was like, who places this card at $7? Like, this is Elizabeth. So I snagged that like as soon as I saw it, as soon as he sent me that link, because I gotta have that. But I was just like, that's a crazy low amount for that.
You kind of feel like the disrespect for her a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, especially in the game, I feel like, the first time like I was introduced to her playing, the first game, I was just like, man, like
Mm,
she has a little bit too much of like camera focus on her for her to just be a little side character. And then ends up,
mm,
coming full circle that she was Sears apprentice once
yeah,
before. So it's just like, whoa, like this, like she's a character bigger than the story. So I mean, it's really, really cool character. And plus, like, I mean,
yeah,
$7, that's nuts. Just
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I was yeah, I didn't even have the words for it. I was like, "Okay, I guess." I mean,
Yeah.
if I can afford it, Imma grab it go ahead and grab that, so I'm really glad I got that because 'cause I've been starting to build that shelf, like, helmet, the little TIE fighter, there's a little, probe droid, and then her Black Series figures, so it's growing.
Yeah, that's dope. When are you dressing up as her again?
Oh gosh. Trying to think. All the months have just I didn't realize January was like barely over. Was it? It
Yeah.
felt like it went on forever. So let me think. If ICC works out this year, I'll probably wear her again then. So that's like in May. So kind of far, but yeah.
Hell yeah. See, and that's kind of like moving on from like show and tell. Like, I really loved what you brought. I think those are really great items. But I just think it's insane how, I mean, me personally, I would never know what to dress up as. Like, I have the Black Series Boba Fett rearmored helmet.
Mhm.
I think it's really cool. I would just be so scared to take it with me to like wear. Just because I feel like for me, I'm not like the biggest con person. Like I've been to two, like since I've been a Star Wars fan. So like I've been to only two in my whole life.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, there's just something for me about just throwing on some pants, some jeans, and just throwing on like a dope ass Star Wars shirt and just
Mhm.
swagging out. But I absolutely am so jealous of everyone who dresses up because you see so many cool outfits, different, designs. And plus, like, I seen this lady in Denver dressed up as Thrawn, and I was like, wow, like she was basically like a female Chiss like as an admiral, and I was just like, so she kind of did her own little twist because she wasn't
Yeah.
Thrawn, but she just kind of made herself known like that she was like another Chiss admiral. So I'm like, man,
Mhm.
that's a a different way to look at it. But what does it feel like just putting on the outfits to cosplay and all that?
I mean, I love it. I love being able to dress up as like I do a lot of major characters, but I also do a lot of like smaller characters. Like I went when I went to New Orleans for a fan expo, I didn't realize how many people didn't know of Trilla, so it then made me like think that she is kind of a smaller character because she's so unknown. I love doing that. I love wearing unknown characters or smaller role characters like Bix and Trilla, and just kind of showing them some love. And then also, I'm really short, so I'm 5'1", so I get to wear like really cool boots that give me some height, and it makes me feel a little bit more confident because I'm more of an introvert, so I'm walking around this like really cool set of armor, and so definitely helps with that. So I just love it, and I love seeing everyone getting creative with it too. Like you said,
Mm,
like putting your own spin on it. There's original characters, like everyone has like different versions of like their own Jedi outfit, so I love seeing
yeah.
that. So yeah, that's my favorite part, just like the confidence boost and creativity that's behind it for sure.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, I've seen, on your Instagram that craft a lot of these things. Like you're creating some of these outfits, which is beyond me. Like I remember taking like fax class in 7th grade and I didn't even know how to stitch the pillow correctly. So I mean, people who really, put their time in and just, make all these things come to life is just insane to me. Um, was it Bix from Andor that you did as well?
Yeah, yeah, that one took me about a month, and that was pretty much from scratch. And you said that you didn't really have any idea what to do in that class in 7th grade, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like, all right, let's just get some needle and some yarn and some fabric, and let's see what we can make. And I truly don't know what I'm doing. I just kind of trust the process as we go. So I don't have to know much about much to be able to cosplay, of course. Like if that's something you're interested, definitely go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's Bix Colleen from Andor season 1, and because her outfit's gonna be different Andor season 2, but that was a really, really fun challenge to be able to make. Because I did my original Jedi character that I have. I hand sewed that whole thing, and then I finally got a sewing machine, so I was able to do more of like a complex outfit. So that's why I wanted to do Bix Colleen because it was more of a challenge.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think that's really cool too that you're like pushing yourself because I mean, if you're able to step outside of your comfort zone and make, a good piece, like imagine what you could do in like in the future. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's really cool. Is there
thank you.
is there any characters, yeah. Is there any characters that you like want one day to, cosplay as, or is there any that you can like tell us, that you'd like to appear as one day?
Gosh, I have a list. There's a ton of Padme outfits, of course, that I'd like to do. Specifically, it's such a small snippet of it, but in Attack of the Clones, like the very first scene, her and her like pilot guard suit, it's like this leather vest, and then she has some red leggings, and then she has got that helmet because her body double or whatever gets blown up in the ship. Um,
Okay, yes.
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so that one, it's, like, shown for, I don't know, 5 seconds, but I wanna do that one and, about Bastilla Shan, but, like, a dark side version of her, and then, Shmi Skywalker is something that I'm thinking of doing this year because of Revenge of the Sith anniversary. We'll see how time plays out on that, but Shmi Skywalker is so underrated, and so I'd love to cosplay her and make her character's outfit.
Yeah, that would be something that would be really cool because I mean, some people could be like, who is she, dressed up as? And it's like, look, I'm Shmi. I'm the one that held
Yeah,
Anakin for 9 years. I'm the one,
yep.
like I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I remember when the Acolyte wrapped up and everyone was kind of talking about, so Plagueis is here now. We finally see him in live action. Like,
Mhm,
where is this time coming to where Anakin is created, blah blah
mhm,
blah. That was
mhm,
stirring up questions, and it's like,
mhm,
yo, Shmi was just an innocent slave, and like, could you just imagine just randomly, just like, oh, I'm pregnant, and I
mhm.
have the chosen one. I'm pregnant with the
Mhm,
chosen one. That's
mhm.
nuts. Like, very underrated character.
Yeah, she handled it with such grace though, like how she speaks about her son, and if you read some of the canon novelization or novels, just like some of the lessons that she taught Anakin, it's just she was so graceful, so wise. So I would love to cosplay, yeah, her character.
Yeah, that would be tight. So what would you think more of like a maybe like pod racing esque scene of Shmi Skywalker, kind of like when she's like in the desert suit, or maybe more so, hey Lando, cat decided to join.
Yes, I have two cats, so I love it. Yes.
Yeah, my wife will always be like, "That's our other son too. Like, don't leave him out." So I always, every time he pops in, I gotta show him off.
I love that. Yes.
But or I was also thinking too, what about like Attack of the Clones, Shmi Skywalker, maybe with a little bit of the blood on her face? I think that would be
Right.
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards Phantom Menace. I love that shot of her when she's like standing like by her house or whatever, watching Anakin build the pod racer, and she's just kind of like that, and I don't know, she's contemplating so much, and I just love that image of her. So I'm leaning towards that for sure.
The Jedi Qui-Gon is, of course, he
Mhm.
was kind of the first mention of a gray Jedi. However, if you abide by gray Jedi or not, it's kind of like a mixed thing. I feel like Star Wars fans,
Yeah,
it's like they either agree with that or they
or
don't.
they hate it.
Yeah, I'll be able to sleep just fine tonight.
Yeah.
But what would you think like if Qui-Gon was like, you know what? This is how I leave the order. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna free Anakin and Shmi, and then because you can kind of see that tension between Shmi and Qui
Yeah.
Gon. You see it all through the time they're on Tatooine. What would you think if Qui Gon took that as his chance to kind of do his own thing and kind of build a relationship with Shmi? What would you think of that?
I mean, there's a deleted scene, so I forget what the lines are. It's towards the end before Anakin leaves to Coruscant, but um the deleted scene is Qui-Gon putting his hand on Shmi's shoulder, and it's edited out, and like there's just that kind of like not tension but just like affection for her. So I don't see that as non-plausible. Like I think it's something that could have happened because there was that like affection for her there. um would it have impacted the story and Anakin's story? For sure, we would have had a completely different story. But a little nice head canon is that, he had an affection for Shmi. So I'm
Yeah.
with you on that route.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I feel like, man, they just announced the Force Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn Funko and the Star
Yeah.
Killer.
Mhm.
I gotta get that Qui-Gon right away. But it's just, it makes me think, back to his character, and we've been bringing up the Phantom Menace. It's just one of those movies where it's just like when I was a kid, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna fast forward to the pod race scene and then to the Duel of the Fates. That's all I want to see.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
political.
Big
uh
scenes.
yes, like let me see the good ones. And watching it, and also watching it in theater last year
Yeah.
with the re-release, that movie is damn good. That movie is
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like it takes a lot of cutback, especially in the prequels. Out of the three, I feel like it's gonna get, the most shame. But I mean, I don't know. That's a damn good movie.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that Phantom Menace is Qui-Gon's story. It's like the end of his journey, the end of his life, and we see the camera mostly on him throughout the entire movie. So I feel like it's Qui-Gon's movie, and Qui-Gon is one of my favorite characters. I love Phantom Menace for sure.
Oh yeah. And it's also weird to think too, like what could have been if George Lucas, tweaked some of the details in writing the prequels, because obviously he's had Qui-Gon Jinn in his mind writing these. So why would he give, the very first prequel to, 4, 5, and 6, gives, this Jedi this light, and this is the first time we really see the Jedi in their prime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the Phantom Menace coming out, that was the first time a lot of people saw the Jedi in their prime. Like they were reading novels or whatever, but like this was live action for everyone. So, when the Phantom Menace was re-released this past year in theaters, I was talking with a couple of my friends, and it's just like seeing the Jedi Order and like the Jedi temple in Coruscant, like it's just such a beautiful scene, beautiful view. So it's really captivating. So I don't understand why I get so much hate. Also, Attack of the Clones gets a lot of hate too. I don't get that either, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you really sit there and just stare at what scenes are going on, it's like
Mm.
the only argument anyone can give me about Attack of the Clones is simply Anakin's Riz. It's like, hey man, come on. You're not gonna, but at the same time he ended up getting Padme, so it worked,
He's
saying he
also a teenager, like, cut me some slack. Like, you think you had all those smooth moves at that age? Like, not even.
Oh yeah. That is true. Me and a coworker at work, we were talking about it. We're just like, man, if like I kind of basically said what I just said here is, if you can give me one thing bad about Attack of the Clones, it's just the way Anakin was talking to Padme. But, come on. What a nitpick,
Yeah,
and ultimately it worked. He ended up marrying Padme, ends up having children with Padme, and things went
yeah,
downhill, of course, in episode 3. But I mean, yeah, it's a great movie. The Battle of Geonosis. Give me a Lego set.
yeah,
Lego. If you
yeah,
somehow see this, give us that set. It would be amazing.
yes, for sure.
Um, what else? I think, introducing Boba Fett for the first time as a young child and seeing, his dad is who his dad is, and that's where he gets the
Mhm,
armor.
mhm.
And all the clones, everyone loves the clones. This is where they all come from, so I
Yeah.
think the whole Camino scene is super underrated. I feel like we're just kind of going down this prequels pipeline of like why
We're
it's
just
so
like,
great.
yeah, hype it up.
But yeah, what a is there any other characters other than Shmi that you'd like to cosplay? Is there any others maybe in the prequel era? I know we dip that's kind of how this all started, but is there
Yeah.
is there any other characters you'd like to try?
Oh gosh, let me think about my list. Got like this long list. There's just a lot of Padme. Zam is kind of a one as well.
Oh,
Bounty
that'd
Hunter
be dope.
Zam would be really fun. It's real complicated, so it'll probably be like way in the future to be able to tackle. But that's the only one that I can think of that I'd like to cosplay. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe it's see, Zam always kind of reminded me of like Voldemort. So like when I was younger, I was just like, okay, so we have like this two-faced dude. So he has like two different, like auras basically. It's like, okay, he's the one professor at Hogwarts, but then he's also like on the backside of this dude's head. So that was always just like, whoa. So obviously seeing that and then Attack of the Clones, around the same time, it's just like, okay, what's up with all these two-faced people?
Mhm.
So Zam being a changeling, I would love to see more of them in Star Wars. I think that would be so awesome. And she almost assassinated Padme, and that would have been a huge part of the story. So
Yeah.
Zam needs her flowers as well. So I can get behind that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Another small character that I'm like, just a little bit more love.
Yeah. I think too that would be dope if you were able to go to like a con or like a gathering of some sort and you could get a picture with like a Django Fett if there happened to be one
Yeah.
there and be like, you killed me. Yeah, you know
You
that,
did me
right?
dirty.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Don't really appreciate that. Um, if I was the cosplay, I would 100% love to like tackle the Quinlan Voss. I've actually seen one person in Denver actually
Mm,
that was Quinlan Voss. I was like, "Whoa, what the hell? This is dope." Um he
that's
was
cool, yeah.
he was light skinned, he was mixed. He had the arm cuffs, he had of course, like, and he was also swole too. So like he was able to, rock the tank top kind of like the no sleeves, and then he also had the kifar line across his face. And I
Mhm,
think I think the dreads were fake,
mhm.
but they were like dope as hell. Like it kind of gave me some Chrysanthemum vibes because he also had like some clips onto the dreads. I was like, man, this dude killed it. And he also was
Yeah,
rocking a yellow lightsaber too. So I was like, man, this is really, really cool.
yeah, that'd be a fun cosplay. I feel like it's simpler for your first cosplay, so if you ever do that, yeah, it's a good way to start.
Yeah. Also too, I've been growing my hair out, so I'm like, man, I would love to get Kylo Ren's lightsaber and just
Oh,
like
okay.
reenact some of like the crazy scenes, like where he like when he's like real pissy with Luke and he just like throws his lightsaber down. Like that shit's so cool. Like I would love to like redo that.
Be
Um
all moody and stuff.
yeah, and actually have like a reason to be moody. And it's okay. But yeah, I mean, those are just some of the couple that I would think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I could tackle an Obi-Wan too well. I mean, I could try to grow my beard out, just to like I mean, that or cut my hair, but also at the same time, I feel like the hair thing wouldn't really matter too much unless you're trying to get it spot on. But I mean, maybe a
Yeah.
young Obi-Wan, get the Jedi braid in there. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? I feel like it's such like a generic question, but especially like where we're going with Star Wars, like it's very interesting to see like what everyone's background is. So like what is your favorite Star Wars movie or series or series, whatever?
Yeah, so, I it changes with my mood, like, recently I've been watching Attack of the Clones a lot, and then, of course, when Phantom Menace was being re-released, was watching that a ton, but Revenge of the Sith will always be top tier for me, and it's not for reasons like other people are like, "The best music, the best, like, choreography or whatever." All of that is true, but, my dad took me out of school to go watch it in the movie theaters, and that was just, like, a really big core memory for me when I was, like, 7 or 8, so that's why it, like, holds that, like, nostalgia, you know, place on my favorite movies, so Revenge of the Sith for me. What about you?
Yeah, it's definitely Revenge of the Sith. Man, that was one, like I said earlier, I would fast forward and like try to get to all the big scenes. But Revenge of the
Mm,
Sith, taking that DVD out and it just start to finish, like not a single
yeah,
skip. So
yeah.
it's Revenge of the Sith to me is like a good album. Like, there's some, mid albums that you listen to and you're just like kind of wanting to hear the bangers. But when you find that really good album and you just don't skip, you just let it ride. Like that's Revenge of the Sith to me. Every single detail is just so perfect. And I at first I did not like Ahsoka Tano at all. I was like, look, if
Mm.
Anakin has a Padawan, he, you know, damn straight better be a master on the Jedi Council, you know. But it took me a while to just capture and I like Ahsoka Tano as a character, and it really, really made me open my eyes when I saw season 7 of Clone Wars. I feel like everyone can attest to that. But I was like, dude, this right here, these 4 episodes, like the first four, it really makes you think like, so these little 30-minute episodes we just got made Revenge of the Sith 10 times better. Like, and that's crazy. And like I grew up loving Revenge of the Sith. There's like no way you can make it better, but it's just crazy how I used to hate Ahsoka. I'm like, man, get this character out of here. And like her character dynamic and like that little arc she went through with Maul, and she could have told Yoda what was going on. Like those little things just made Revenge of the Sith 10 times better. So,
Yeah,
shout out to Dave Filoni and all those working with Clone Wars, but man, like it just shot it way up even more.
yeah. Yeah, it certainly added to the tension because it presented all those, like, what ifs and, like,
Oh
what was
yeah.
happening behind the scenes, like, in those gap, scenes that we see in Revenge of the Sith, but I love your analogy about it's just, like, a really good album that you gotta listen to all the way through, that's really, really cool. Yeah, Clone Wars, I read, like, interviews and stuff, Dave Filoni's intention with her was to make her non-likable, to be able to show, like, her character development for you to love her by the end, but yeah, season 7, when that came out, I it dropped, I think at like midnight or something at my time because I was in Arizona, but I stayed up for that very last episode. Literally teared up when Life or Death, I think is the song that plays with the clone trooper helmets. It's in the snow on the
Oh
sticks.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, solid stuff. Really, really,
Yeah.
really good stuff.
It's impeccable. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like how can you make something that's so good even better? Like that
Yeah.
it's this is that's my gripe, is it's like, hey, Disney can make some good things, man.
Mm, mhm.
I don't think there's just so much to blame in Star Wars, and I just feel like everyone just rides on that. I
Yeah.
mean, it would be impossible for someone to make for a franchise like Star Wars just to make everything so good for everyone's taste. I mean, the world would suck if we all like the same thing. That's just
Yeah.
being real.
Yeah.
But I mean, we keep the dream alive as fans.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, yeah, 100%. I just absolutely love, what they did with that, especially that last season because I had just started watching The Mandalorian season 1 because I that came out 2019, and
Mhm.
then I remember during quarantine, like the first big shutdown, I was just like, "Well, I guess it's time to watch Clone Wars because I don't have anything to do," you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I ended up rewatching all season 1 through 6, and then when 7 came out, I was like, "Oh man, here we go." Over time, and that's something also about the Clone Wars that's really really nice, is it's just like like Breaking Bad, like season 1, it's like kind of
Mm.
gritty. By
Mhm.
season 2, you see the production value skyrocket. So
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
okay, people are liking the show." And by
Mhm.
season 5, when you're in, the, finale season, like, everything looks so crystal clear, and that's the same
Mhm.
thing with Clone Wars is,
Yeah.
like, episode 1, like, Yoda looks goofy, like, it's like, "What? Come on."
Rex looks real goofy too.
And
If you compare season 7 Rex to season 1, completely different men, I feel like.
Absolutely. Even his helmet just looked wrong, it just, like, was too, like, big for the body, but, I mean,
Sure.
it's fun
Yeah.
fun thing, it's all in
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um, who's your favorite clone? Do you have a favorite clone?
It'd be Rex. I know it's basic, but I love Rex. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know how
he's
much more so you can say about him. He's literally so loyal to all of the captains or commanders that he's ever served under, and he has heart, like, he has conviction. How you gonna
yeah.
top that?
I, uh, I think if we go off of the emotional standpoint from a clone, it would be Rex. Rex. I would say a close second would be Fives, just because he
Yes.
knew,
Yeah.
the bigger picture and the way he
Yep.
handled it, just insane. Like, just
Yeah.
you feel for him.
Yeah.
Um, but my favorite clone would have to be Cody. I'm a Broncos fan, so the color orange. I just absolutely love that battalion of clones, and plus, I mean, he's the one that switched on Obi-Wan last second, so he has the iconic, Order 66, one of the first ones we get from Palpatine that we see POV style, and it's just Cody was the one. So
Mhm.
he's
Yeah.
always stuck with me in that way. Do you by chance have a favorite Star Wars live action series?
Star Wars TV series, like,
Yeah.
non or you said live action? Live
Yeah, live
action or
action.
just live action? Okay. Um, well, I was gonna say Tales of the Jedi, but that is animated.
Well, there's your favorite animated.
I think it's so underrated. Like when it first came out, I don't think people were talking about it enough. Um, it's a tie between Mando season one and Ahsoka. Like when I first watched Mando season one, I was like, "This is so cool!" And like the first of its first. And then Ahsoka season one is because it's basically Rebels season five to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I love Rebels. So yeah.
Hell yeah. See, I get down with Mando 1.
Hmm.
I think Mando season 2 kinda has the edge on me just because, I love Cobb Vanth. I think he is marvelous. Maybe, like, when I'm 60 and I go gray, hopefully I'm still, like, in shape like Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Maybe, the gray hair, I can turn into the silver fox of the galaxy like my man. Absolutely love that character. Also, I would have to say, Luke saving Grogu. That's iconic. But
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Mando 1, like you said, it's the start. And I feel like that was when you get like the OG Din Djarin, to where like he just there
Yeah.
was there was really no fucks given. Like he was
Yeah.
out to get his bounty, wasn't scared of nothing, and then, of course,
Yeah.
getting the attachment from Grogu, it kinda made him a softer man, but I feel like
Softy,
that's more of
yeah.
this yeah, it's definitely the story's dynamic, um, but, Ahsoka season 1, I would have to bounce off that as well, just because I really think the Balin and Shin duo, like, it was so unexpected. Like, that there was 2, quote, unquote, "dark Jedi" that would be playing a
Mhm,
huge role in, getting to Thrawn and being a,
mhm,
protagonist. or antagonist, and it's just like I just feel like they were an accident. Like it was just insane. Like I know you for sure remember when season 1 came out, Shin was everywhere.
Mhm.
Everywhere. There's not a single Star Wars fan, male, that is gonna sit here and tell me they don't like Shin Hati. I remember the first time my homie Bailey, he's like, bro, that's Shin mommy. Like she's everything. Marak Skywalker on Instagram. This dude, in his bio, it says Shin Hati like is Bay or something, like something
Oh my
along those lines.
gosh.
First
Yeah.
time I've seen Tony on his channel, he has like the Shin cardboard
Oh, yeah,
cutout.
the car yeah, yep.
You know, it's just Shin is Shin, and she straight up took the internet by storm. You know,
Yeah,
it's just the I feel like she did set up the pipeline for the Anakin Skywalker edits, like just that trend on TikTok. I can't every 5 videos I swipe on my For You page, just Anakin Skywalker edits, which is I always appreciate. I love Anakin.
yeah,
Hayden Christensen, is there. I don't even have to say any more on him.
yeah.
But the Shin Hati edits all day, every day. It's just so funny because, like, I mean, she has a lot of screen time, but it's very minimal at the same time.
Sure, yeah.
And it's just like, wow, like, I mean, took the internet by storm. And then
Yeah,
Balin Skull being so awesome, you can tell he kind of has that old Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku kind of mixture of just this cool
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The gray hair also gets you too, so you can tell he's weathered, he's older, and just awesome, just an awesome character.
Yeah, his presence and then, like, the opening scene too for Ahsoka was so Phantom Menace, but, like, reversed. It was, like, 180, like, showing a contrast, and so, like, I think even, like, the edits too, like, were similar, like, parallel to Phantom Menace, like, how it would cut, and then the music, just it was a great opening scene and t a great way to introduce their characters instead of just, like, putting them somewhere random, like, episode 3 or something. But yeah, Balin's presence, and I love that, like, that description of him where he's a Count Dooku, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon mixture. I so wanna know who his master was in the order. Like, it is so unfortunate, RIP for, forget his name, Ray Stevenson, but, hopefully with this new casting, he can portray him well, we'll see, but I really wanna know more of his backstory for sure.
Yeah, and I remember, like, Tales of the Empire, and we
Mhm.
can also get to Tales of the Jedi. Don't let me forget, because I was actually just
Yeah,
talking to one of my homies, like, about how great, all those episodes were. But,
yeah.
um, Tales of the Empire, I enjoyed it, I really
Mhm,
did,
mhm.
but I think maybe this is a Star Wars fan thing, but you expect so much, and when you have it in your mind, like, "Oh, this is gonna happen," and it doesn't, you're like, "God damn, I'm so bummed out that
Yeah,
it's like, this
yeah,
story." But I was just really expecting a Shin and Balin kinda just little backstory. It didn't have to
yeah,
explain too much, but just a little bit. Um, but man, how cool would that be if we got to see a young Balin? Because I've seen some, like, concept art, like, that people have drawn of,
yeah.
Balin leading his own, like, clone battalion. Like,
Love
let
that, yeah,
me see that. That would be
yeah.
insane. That would be
Yeah,
so crazy.
yeah, they could do so much with the Tales series, like Tales of the Bounty Hunter, Tales of the Sith, like I don't know, like literally anything. And like you said, I enjoyed Empire too, seeing more of like the Inquisitor side of it, but I was expecting a little bit more of Darth Vader and maybe something to do with Balin and Shin. I think there was something else that I was expecting that we didn't really get. I didn't really understand the importance of the Morgan Elsbeth like arc. Like it gave me a little bit more information about her just from randomly seeing her in the Mandalorian season, but I was just like, this could have been something else, you know? Um,
Yeah, it's, I feel like for me, the Morgan Elsbeth story was kinda cool. We got to see, like, what was it? Is it the TIE Defender that has the three
yeah,
wing?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that
Mhm.
was cool to know that she kinda, like, blueprinted that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I feel like it was just, like, a cool time for me because, like, I was watching, this document like, it was like a YouTube documentary, and it was kinda like the backstory of Diana Lee, Santo's like background and
Yeah,
like
she's great. Yeah, she's
yeah,
great for sure.
yeah, she's like really cool and is like she's like very high ranked in martial arts.
Mhm.
Freaking Bruce Lee is her godfather.
Mhm.
And it's just like I mean, she carries his name, like it's
Yeah.
insane. But I just think it was kind of like one of those times where I was just like, okay, like she's really cool to me. Like I think her
Mm.
character deserves a little bit more, but I think it was just kind of like a bullet to take too for Star Wars. It's like, look, someone sees potential in this character. She makes a lot of sense. She's how they get to Thrawn.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
and also she was like a princess of Dathomir, so she was able
Yeah.
to kind of get forged into being a witch. And that shit was cool. I absolutely love that in Ahsoka, seeing her kind of just like turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Night
um
Sisters live action for the first time. That was
yes,
wild. It was so cool. Yeah.
man, and it was like so scary too. Like I remember my brother was kind of like, man, this is kind of like this is like Return of the Living Dead-esque, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I could see it," and then, like, my wife's like, "Yeah, it's a little too scary, I don't really like this."
Really?
And
That's so interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I'm a horror guy, so, like, give it to me. Like, I want zombies, I want,
Got you.
night troopers, um,
Yeah.
even, like, Chimera when he was, like, floating down from the trees, I'm like, I
Love
love
that.
yes,
Yep.
like, so many good things.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of Tales of the Jedi, I personally think that my favorite scene was finally showing Camino getting wiped from the Jedi archives. Like that was just a big like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was yeah, seeing how that was done for sure. I love in the animated shows that we get like little fillers, not filler episodes, but just like little fillers to like our head canon. Like when you grow up watching the movies as they're coming out, like you just have this head canon of like what if, and then we see it actually in animation become canon and it just like blows our mind. I loved seeing Qui-Gon in the second episode, young Qui-Gon, and Count Dooku and how it kind of shows Count Dooku's fall and like gives us that reasoning. Like you could see his perspective. I love villains when you can understand their perspective and the reasons for it, and you kind of
Yes.
like find yourself rooting for them because you can understand and agree. So I love those types of villains and arcs, and so that was super fun to see for Count Dooku, and I love Qui Gon. So seeing younger Qui Gon, that was a lot of fun. And then after I remember when I was watching Tales of the Jedi when it came out, I had to pause after every single episode and just like process what I just watched. Like seeing the first episode of Ahsoka, I was in love with the moment that I forget the name of the creature, but it's like that saber-toothed tiger that takes
Oh
her
yeah.
and she touches her hand on his like snoot, and it's just like you can see in her eyes, like for me at least, maybe I'm interpreting too much, but I feel like I see the force in her eyes connecting with the saber tooth. It was gave me chills. It was such a good scene. So I love Tales of the Jedi. I don't think that it gets enough hype for sure.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think it's insane how like Ahsoka, being the character she is, like this is how it
Mhm.
started for her. Like this is kind of
Yeah.
these are like the stepping stones of like getting noticed. And I mean she definitely has a big impact. Like I feel like the Clone Wars is definitely a huge part of her story.
Yep.
And just to go back and literally see her as an infant making, depth, like just as a Star Wars character. Like I feel like
Mhm.
it doesn't get more genuine. Um and it only adds, it adds to the character. Seeing a young Qui-Gon was insane. Like he, the short hair and just showing that he
Mhm.
was young, but he also knew then like something's just not right. Like
Yeah.
I would love, 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 love to see like a young Qui-Gon like centered, either short or just something. Because
Yeah.
I feel like he's just one of those characters that he sees through everything. Anakin saying he sees through the lies. I know Qui-Gon saw through, through all
Mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
my like growing up, my dad was just always like, look, like the Sith, they're one thing, the Jedi, they're another. There's bounty hunters, smugglers, everyone has like a different like kind of like a occupation, but for the
Mhm.
story, you adapt to what you like. You know,
Yes.
I
Mhm.
know people like Andy from the Galactic Core podcast.
Mhm,
He
mhm.
absolutely loves the Sith, and at first I was like, "You know what? I don't think I'd be a Sith. I think it'd be like a Jedi or a bounty hunter or something," you know? And it literally took me after seeing the Acolyte being like, "Man, screw the Jedi. I'm done." Like, you're gonna tell me like
Amazing.
Vernestra, this character from the High Republic, you know, I don't read the books. The only books I
Mhm,
have is Dark Disciple, like obviously, duh. But it's insane to me that, you know, Star Wars fans that, you know, have read those books, they know Vernestra and she's like this huge character, but she's a huge POS, man.
yeah,
Like like
for
she
sure.
burns soul. She burns
Yeah,
soul. Like what the
yeah,
hell? And
yeah.
and clearly had this connection with Chimere. That gets sidelined, and then she at the end tells Yoda, like, you know, she's either going to tell him the truth, one, and they're just going to cover it up. Yoda was like, "Well, we're going to have to do this. I know they're out there. They're just not going to. We have strength in numbers, basically."
Mhm,
Or she's going to lie, and it's like, okay, all right. I can't with these Jedi right now. Like when Soul died, oh my god. I just got so mad like at the Jedi. Um
mhm,
I mean, but yeah, it's all POV, but I mean, god, like I just feel like Qui-Gon like just makes me have some sort of like internal anger towards the Jedi just from
mhm,
Qui-Gon's arc. Um,
mhm,
it's yeah, and that's what I love of Tales of the Jedi is just seeing and knowing that there's like I feel like you could tell that something was like going on, and he could see it in his master. So I mean, argue or not, I think Qui Gon kind of had it rough, you know, coming up,
mhm.
especially through the Jedi Order. So I mean, I see the sketchiness, and I mean maybe he did too, but just wasn't able to get out, and ultimately he died, you know, under this, you know, by the Sith. So and that's what his master went towards. Just such a you know spine chilling just moment, you know.
Yeah.
Ah, so weird,
Yeah,
so weird.
a lot of the novels, like The Living Force and Master and Apprentice, which is about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but both of those books, Qui-Gon is like an adult, like a couple years, before Phantom Menace, maybe like 10, but he's already an adult and he has strong convictions with the Force, and he doesn't. It's just crazy to me that he doesn't leave the Order because I think he still thinks he can do good in the Order. And I think that he gets that from his master because if you read Jedi Lost with Count Dooku, like that's his book.
Mm.
Um, I this is a hot take that I literally said a couple days ago in another podcast, but I think that Count Dooku has a more tragic story than Anakin Skywalker. If you read the book and you watch Tales and the way his death goes, like all that combined, I feel like it's more tragic than Anakin because his was like an altruistic motive. Like spent his entire life trying to do good and that wasn't working out in the order. And then he thinks that he can do good by being on the other side and literally amounts to nothing. And like Anakin was more of an emotional side, like personal, you know?
Mm.
You're like, I don't know how to feel about that.
I won't have a take on it because I haven't read
Mm, mhm,
Dooku Jedi Lost. I've actually
mhm,
skimmed through it at Books a Million before. Like, do I
mm.
grab this? Do I
It's
not?
so good. So
I
good.
need to get into books, and I'm not even gonna take a shortcut with you. I have talked to so many people who read these books, and they're just like, dude, you just got to go buy it, and you just got to
Mhm,
open it, and you got to read it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know,
mhm.
I'll go check it out next weekend. Like, I just need to do it. I just need to do it.
Yep,
um,
yep.
but I've only heard good things about Jedi Lost, and you know,
So good.
I like I said, I can't even you know, go against you with that because you know, I feel like a lot of the things with Anakin is it like to start off, he was already too far gone. You know, like
Mm,
it's
mhm,
kind of like and some people might hate this, is you know, Osha and May, when Soul took May in, Osha, when he took
oh, sure.
Osha in,
Yeah. Mhm,
um, she was too old. It was kind of like a mirror of Anakin, which, you know,
mm,
I know some people really hate the comparison, but
mhm,
it's only just in that faction. Um, it just doesn't work out that way. You know, the younger they go to the Jedi Temple, the better.
mhm.
They're able to come up through that way, and of course with the Force. But like I mean, Anakin was just already not there already, you know, and of course tragic things happened, but I mean, even when like Dooku like loses to Anakin, you just see like his sadness, you know, just like it's just like all of this for like you're telling him to kill me right now?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I literally left what I know to, you know, help you and everything. And I I also kind of look at it as a cry of help when he was telling Obi-Wan, like, you and I can do this thing. Like, we can go against, you know, Jedi. We can go
Mhm.
against Sith. Like, God damn, that's like, like to me, like that's like a cry for help, and that's just like,
Yeah,
God. So
yeah.
I can see the
A
hot
hot
take. I don't
take.
think I feel like it's a hot take for sure, but I mean anything with Anakin like correlating, it's always going to be a hot take because it's Anakin. That's what the whole story's about. But I mean, you could argue that Dooku really does have it wrong, and it's just kind of like, well, if you take the time and look at it, obviously there's something there. You're saying it for a reason, so I can get behind that. But I do need
Sure.
to read the books. I do need to read the
It's
books.
so good. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you struggle with like sitting down and like holding a physical book, you can always do like audiobooks. And I do like a mixture of both sometimes. Like I like to hear the voice actors narrate and then like read it and like notate for myself. But there's different variations, but I like to do it when I'm traveling because I have nothing else to do. Like if I'm on a plane, I don't have Wi-Fi, so I have to read and entertain myself. So that's what I
Right.
like to do when I fly, and that helps me learn a little bit more about characters that we know and love.
Just to end it, did you want to tell everyone what your channel is about, and also for those watching, those listening, what is the future for crafting on Ilum for you and your followers?
Yeah, so I do a lot of everything. I do cosplay, collecting, as you can see. I do conventions. I have my online shop that's Star Wars inspired merch. So I post about all that stuff all the time on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok sometimes. And that's all crafted on Ilum. So that's mainly what I do. And then for the future, I'm making more designs for my shop. Hopefully, another cosplay. Cosplays do take a while to work on and finish, and just more conventions and vlogs and just keeping everyone updated. So if you want to see that, follow along on my page, Crafting on Ilum.
Yes, make sure you guys go follow that. Everything of hers will be down below, so make sure you go check it out. Um, and also, too, if you haven't already, we did just hit 500 subscribers here on YouTube, so make sure you go follow and subscribe. Everything at Clan Brandolorian, and we'll be tuning in for the giveaway next week. So make sure you guys are subscribed and make sure you follow on Instagram because I know YouTube is kind of weird with giveaways, so I don't want to jeopardize anything we're doing here. And yeah, once again, thank you guys for everything. Crafting on Ilum, not Star Killer Base, guys. Crafting on Ilum. Thank you for joining, and make sure you guys go follow her, and we'll see you guys next time.